afternoon. Good afternoon, my YouTube family. Good afternoon, my Clubhouse. I see you over there, G-Dub. Thank you for joining me in the Clubhouse space. Ping some folks in the room. I see you, my YouTube family. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. It is Keeping Up with Congress. I keep telling y'all we will not get reparations without negotiations. It just won't happen. It's not going to happen. So if you are following me right here on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. You got to subscribe to the channel, y'all. I'm almost at 1,000. I'm almost at 1,000. It's been taking me a minute to get there, but I am almost at 1,000. So if you are following me right here on Clubhouse and YouTube, make sure you go to that like button, that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and share. You know, I come to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. to 5:30, right here on Clubhouse. I come to you right here on YouTube, y'all. And we do Keeping Up with Congress. We will not get reparations without negotiations, and everything that's happening right now in this world, in this America. We got to keep our eyes on Congress. It's just no way around it. We have to keep our eyes on Congress. So, you know, I like to bring you at the top of the hour. I like to bring you a little reparations information. I keep my eyes on what's happening around the country specific to reparations. So if you are following me right here on YouTube, let me make my screen a little larger. And YouTube, let me make my screen a little bit larger. I see you coming in over here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, and share. And if you are following me right here in Clubhouse, ping some folks into the room. Tomorrow, y'all. Tomorrow, just to give you heads up, tomorrow's Wednesday the 18th. I have Jackie Johnson, who is the mother, y'all. She's the mother of Kendrick Johnson, the kid that was at high school that was found rolled up in a mat. She's going to join us in this Clubhouse space tomorrow at 5:30 to talk about what's going on, what happened to her son. Please make sure you let our folks know to join us. I've included it in tomorrow's title for the broadcast to make sure you see that tomorrow we're going to have a very serious conversation about what happened to this woman's son. It is disheartening. I actually have had an opportunity to meet Jackie. And I went to Valdosta on this last trip, y'all, that we were able to make down to South Georgia. I made sure when I stopped through there, I made sure that I contacted her, and she met me and showed me the school where the incident actually happened. And y'all, their mascot is the devil. The devil. Right? Keeping Up with Congress, y'all. Tomorrow, 5:30. Be sure to join me in Clubhouse. If you don't have the Clubhouse app, reach out to me, YouTube family. We got to make sure that you are plugged in because there's too much information that's going around these social media spaces, and you got to be where everybody is. We can't miss a beat. All right, let's dive in. I found an interesting article in Mother Jones. It's an author who's written a book. And this book is titled How the Word is Passed. This is Clint Smith. And he's an author who has written a book about reparations, the conversation around race in America. Author Clint Smith, How the Word is Passed. It says, reckoning with the history of slavery across America. This is an article. It says, slavery, of course, was merely one phase of a long and violent campaign by white Americans to enrich themselves and later to protect their political power and economic advantages at the expense of the powerless. Beyond even the Black codes, the Jim Crow statutes, the racial pseudoscience, lynchings, and land seizures, and a 13th Amendment loophole that encouraged convict leasing, and the groundless incarceration of newly emancipated virtually every government initiative designed to help families build intergenerational wealth, the Homestead Act, the National Housing Act of 1934, the Social Security Act, the GI Bill, etc. They all left Black people on the sidelines. And if you don't know your history, you got to look that up. You know, learning how domestic workers were not able to get Social Security, y'all. It's the history, and that's who we were. The history of what has happened to us as a people is something that America has to reckon with. I think his book is seems to be something a worthwhile read, something that we should possibly explore. Goes on to say, broadly speaking, we Americans are reckoning poorly despite a year of seeing racial disparities laid bare by COVID and made visceral by the George Floyd protests. It says, consider the critical race theory uproar. First off, it's bogus. Some people say most grade school kids aren't exposed to anything resembling a comprehensive, inclusive version of their history. And while the white parents picketing school boards say they don't want their kids to feel bad about their skin color, what of all the non-white children who are made to feel self-conscious or inferior about their own skin color at school or work, right? Are we to leave them ignorant of the hell this nation inflicted on their ancestors? And do we deprive white kids of an honest view of our history simply because the complicity of their forebears might make them uncomfortable? As one source put it to me some time ago, it's important for white people to be uncomfortable. It's important for white people to be uncomfortable. It says in a chapter about his visits to the Whitney plantation in Wallace, Louisiana, Smith reflects on his own indoctrination in grade school. He says, I remember feeling crippling guilt as I silently wondered why every enslaved person couldn't simply escape like Douglas and Tubman and Jacobs had. Said, had they not tried hard enough? This is him grappling with his own misunderstanding of history. Says, didn't they care enough to do something? Did they choose to remain enslaved? This I now realize is part of the insidiousness of white supremacy that illuminates the exceptional in order to implicitly blame those who cannot, despite the most brutal circumstances, attain superhuman heights. It does this instead of blaming the system, the people who built it, the people who maintain it. This is its own quiet violence. So that was him grappling with his own misunderstanding of history. So even in his own Black mind, he misunderstood history. So imagine, I can't imagine, but just imagine, I guess, if we could, the fact that most white Americans don't know the history. So I think this is a book worth reading. It's a pretty lengthy article, but I started and I was intrigued by what I was reading. It's called How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith, The Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America. Y'all, we got a lot of work to do, but every day is a walk and every day is a journey. And I just applaud those in white America who are willing to take this walk and this journey with us. It's not easy. It's not comfortable for us. This is our lived experience. I have two adult sons, young adult sons, that I've always had to teach how to be Black in America. My oldest, he and I love the fact that he's, it's funny how your children grow. And at one point they don't hear a word you say, but everything you say to them is funny. They do hear you. They just act like they don't hear you. So it was just funny the other day. He and I were talking, and he was really admitting that he does code switch really well. And that's an art. He's able to maneuver white spaces very easily. And he's able to go into the hood and maneuver like the best of them. And that is how Black people have had to survive, being able to navigate white people in a way that we are able to advance and just able to come home safe to our families. So, white America, they just don't know. And the ones that do, I appreciate them taking this walk and this journey to find out the real truth. I told you Rachel Zola, y'all. Rachel Zola, the lady, white woman out of Chicago, 73 years old, who went on a hunger strike for reparations. A hunger strike, 40 days. This white woman drank chicken broth, water, and Pedialyte for 40 days. Now I'm gonna tell you, I love my people, and I'm telling you, I'm committed to this fight. I done lost a lot and sacrificed a lot, and I will continue to do what it takes to continue to fight, whatever it takes. But y'all, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have to. I'm already a little girl. I'm not that big anyway. So if I lose, she said she lost about 20 some pounds and she expected to lose more. But y'all, if I lost 20 pounds, y'all might think I ain't gonna make it. So I applaud this white woman who has now come to Georgia. She made it here yesterday. She will be on White Women for Reparations at 7:00 p.m. But she's made it here to Georgia. I look forward to getting into these spaces with her to have these conversations and bridging the divide that exists between Black and white America. Let me tell you what we see happening in this country with immigration, Afghanistan. God bless these people. But I don't know if America, and I'm sure we'll have this conversation, I don't know if America can handle tens of thousands more, hundreds of thousands, because I don't know the exact number. Y'all will correct me. But I don't think America can handle this. You're bringing more and more people into this country when you can't take care of the ones, us, those of us that are here, when we're living on the streets. You know, we got work to do. So we're going to have that conversation at the half hour. Thank you, Amaru and Talitha, for joining me on the stage. I'll come over to the clubhouse space, and I'm sure this conversation will go wherever it needs to go. So I thank you for joining me this afternoon. That's probably the only article I'm gonna be able to bring you. I got several more reparations articles, but I just thought this book, it's called How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. I just think this is something worth reading. Something worth reading. So let's dive into the bills, y'all. You know, I like to bring you, but before we do, make sure if you have not been to my website, please do. I am running for the United States Senate. I will be one of 100 senators in this country, y'all. But guess what? I will be your senator. I don't care where you are in these United States. I will be your senator. A lot of these legislators think when they get elected, they're only working for their constituents. No. You owe it back to every American in this country. So I will be your legislator. I don't care where you are in these United States. So if you have not gone to the website, please do. We're taking a bold agenda to Washington. A bold agenda. So let's dive in. HR 966. I like to bring you some House bills and some U.S. Senate bills. So I'm going to dive into the House bills first. HR 966 is the Save Vultures Act. Save Vultures Act. This is Joyce Beatty. Representative Beatty, she is a Democrat out of Ohio. It says this bill prohibits a state from removing registrants from the official list of eligible voters unless it meets certain verification and notice requirements. It says specifically the bill prohibits a state from removing a registrant from the official list of eligible voters unless it verifies on the basis of objective and reliable evidence that the registrant is ineligible to vote in federal elections. It says further, a state is prohibited from considering failure to vote in an election or failure to respond to a notice as evident of ineligibility to vote. It says additionally, the bill requires a state to provide individual registrants who are removed with a notice, which must include the grounds for the removal and information on contesting the removal. It says public notice must be provided after conducting any general program to remove the names of ineligible voters. So this is Representative Joyce Beatty, Democrat out of Ohio. Some of this I kind of agree, and some of it I don't. My undergrad is in computer information systems, and the one thing that they taught us from day one was data is king, and you want to keep your data clean, you want to keep your data updated. So some of this I get, but some of this I don't. failure to vote in an election or failure to respond to a notice as evident of ineligibility to vote, I can agree to that. Just because someone doesn't respond, there needs to be some sort of secondary way to reach them, not just send something in the mail and then if they don't respond, then you consider them ineligible. So there's some things that I would like to see addressed. But this is HR 966, Representative Joyce Beatty. She's a Democrat out of Ohio. HR 967 is the Federal Skills Act. This is Representative Ted Budd, Republican out of North Carolina. His name is funny, Ted Budd, Republican out of North Carolina. It says this bill provides a statutory authority for the executive order titled Modernizing and Reforming the Assessment and Hiring of Federal Jobs Candidates, which was issued on June 26, 2020. This order generally prescribes certain limits as to consideration and use of post-high school educational requirements for positions in the competitive service. It says, among other things, the order specifies that an executive agency may only institute a minimum educational requirement for a position in the competitive service if it is legally required for the position, and may only consider a candidate's education with respect to other minimum requirements if it directly reflects the competencies necessary for the position. So this was an executive order, y'all. I looked this up, that was signed in 2020, June 26, 2020. So that was under Donald Trump. But this executive order, modernizing and reforming the assessment and hiring of federal jobs candidates, it says, reminded agencies of their legal obligation to use valid, competency-based assessments and directed them to scale back reliance upon educational qualifications as a substitute for competencies in the federal hiring process. It says the U.S. Office of Personnel Management is evaluating its options for implementing this executive order. So they are scaling back the reliance upon educational qualifications as a substitute for competencies in the federal hiring process. So that's interesting. Interesting when education, we're in a strange place with education where people are riddled with student loan debt, can't find jobs, but then they want to roll it back, the qualifications back based on competency. So this is a strange place that we're in, y'all. This is HR 967, HR 967. HR 968 is lessening regulatory costs and establishing a federal regulatory budget act of 2021. This is Representative Budd, Ted Budd again, y'all, representative out of North Carolina. This bill establishes procedures and provides statutory authority to reduce the number of federal regulations. I told you that we see a lot of certain bills here on Keeping Up with Congress. We see abortion bills, we see veterans, we see immigration, we see a lot of national security, gun legislation, but we also see bills like this where they're streamlining processes, a lot of Republican-led legislation. So this bill, HR 968. HR 969 is the Freedom from Regulations Act of 2021. Freedom from Regulations Act of 2021. Representative Ted Budd, again, Republican out of North Carolina, says this bill requires independent regulatory agencies to comply with the requirements applicable to regulatory action by other federal agencies, including the rulemaking process under the Administrative Procedure Act. So I went in, he actually had a press release. That's what I can appreciate about some of these legislators. They really, when they introduce bills, they do have a corresponding like press release, something where you can reference the specifics of the bill. So I appreciate that, Representative Budd. It says in his statement, it says, given the fact that federal regulations cost our economy nearly $2 trillion every year, it's essential that we both reduce the size and scope of Washington's red tape and restrain the ability of federal bureaucrats to unilaterally make law. I'm proud to introduce two bills today that would accomplish this goal. And these are the two bills I just read to you. The first bill is the Lessening Regulatory Cost and Establishing a Federal Regulatory Budget Act. It says this legislation requires that for every new regulation that is created, two regulations must be eliminated. I'm not mad at him because I can tell you, y'all, a lot of this stuff is crisscrossed and it's a mess. It's a mess. So I can appreciate these are probably some things that I will probably agree with the Republicans on. Let's clean up the mess. I mean, for every two, but it says the legislation that why would my phone ring in the middle of the broadcast? I'm sorry, y'all. Telemarketers. The second bill is the Freedom from Regulation Act. It says this legislation ensures that independent agencies comply with important statutes, that the rules they write are clear, transparent, and lessen the burden on the American people. So he is intentional about cleaning up the mess, the duplication in policies and streamlining processes. I like that. Let's do some house cleaning. I ain't mad at him. Representative Ted Budd out of North Carolina. HR 970 is the Opportunity Zone Extension Act of 2021. This is Representative Tim Burchett, Republican out of Tennessee. Now, if I didn't answer the phone the first time, did they think I'm going to answer it now? Come on, y'all. Sorry. HR 970, Opportunity Zone Extension Act of 2021. This bill extends for 2 years the election and capital gain deferral periods for qualified opportunity zones. It says an opportunity zone is an economically distressed community where private investments under certain conditions may be eligible for capital gain tax incentives. So this is a tax, looks like a credit, some sort of deferral. It says capital gains deferral period for those that are investing in these opportunity zones. So that's HR 970. HR 970. Again, I am Tamara Johnson Sheila. We got about 5 more minutes. I want to get us through some of these Senate bills. So this is S521. This is the Multinational Species Conservation Fund's Semi-Postal Stamp Reauthorization Act of 2021. Now, if that's not a tongue twister, Senator Rob Portman, Republican out of Ohio. It says this bill directs the U.S. Postal Service to sell each copy of the Multinational Species Conservation Fund semi-postal stamp and notify Congress when all copies have been sold. So this is just some stamps, y'all. The Multinational Species Conservation postal stamp. So this is S521. Senate Bill 522 is Providing Accountability Through Transparency Act of 2021. This is Senator James Langford, Republican out of Oklahoma. This bill requires the notice of a proposed rule by a federal agency to include the internet address of a summary of the rule. The summary may be 100 words or fewer, written in plain language, and posted on regulations.gov. So this is being intentional about being transparent. They want to include the internet address of a summary of the rule so people can cross-reference. So I appreciate that. Some of this stuff, I'm telling you, I will be voting with the Republicans. Providing Accountability Through Transparency Act. This is Senator Langford out of Oklahoma. Senate Bill 523. This is Mr. Ted Cruz, y'all, Republican out of Texas. This is a bill to repeal the Office of Financial Research. He ain't playing. It says this bill eliminates the Office of Financial Research, which provides financial data and analysis to support the Financial Stability Oversight Committee. So Ted got something serious going on. So I did look into this, not as much as I would have liked. Didn't have a whole lot of time, but the Financial Stability Oversight Council, just to give us some insight, was established under the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and the Consumer Protection Act. It says the council provides for the first time comprehensive monitoring of the stability of our nation's financial system. It says the council is charged with identifying risk to the financial stability of the United States, promoting market discipline, and responding to emergency risk, to the stability of the United States financial system. It says the council consists of 10 voting members and 5 non-voting members and brings together the expertise of federal financial regulators, state regulators, and an independent insurance expert appointed by the president. So that's Ted Cruz. This is something he's initiating, y'all. Senate Bill 523, a repeal to the Office of Financial Research. Senate Bill 524, we are almost at the half hour, family. We're almost at the half hour, and we got one more bill to go. Senate Bill 524 is the Federal Insurance Office Abolishment Act. Ted Cruz again, he says this bill wants to eliminate the federal insurance FIO within the Department of the Treasury. This bill also removes the FIO director as a non-voting member of the Financial Stability Oversight Council. He want to dismantle the whole system, y'all. This definitely requires a lot more research than I was able to give it today. It says, just for us understanding the Federal Insurance Office, it says the Federal Insurance Office was established under Title V of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act. It says the FIO has the authority to monitor all aspects of the insurance sector, monitor the extent to which traditionally underserved communities and consumers have access to affordable non-health insurance products, and to represent the United States on prudential aspects of international insurance matters, including at the International Association of Insurance Supervisors. It says, in addition, the FIO serves as an advisory member of the Financial Stability Oversight Council, assists the Secretary with administration to the Terrorism Risk Insurance Program, and advises the Secretary on important national and international insurance matters. So this requires some diving into, y'all. Ted Cruz wants to dismantle the whole thing. Senate Bill 524. There it is, Ted Cruz. Senate Bill 525, those of you that are gun-toting, gun-slinging, Senate Bill 525. Senate Bill 525, this is the Lawful Interstate Transportation of Firearms Act. This is Representative Steve Daines, Republican out of Montana. He said, let's take our guns wherever we go, basically. I did look it up. There was an article in I think this is the Washington Times. Y'all, these people are they just won't quit. Gee whiz. Steve Daines, he introduced a bill to protect gun owners, bringing the firearms across state lines. Montana Republican seeks to strengthen the Firearms Owner Protection Act, y'all. He said you should be able to tote your pistol everywhere you go. It says Steve Daines, Montana Republican, on Tuesday reintroduced legislation to strengthen protections for gun owners legally bringing their firearms across state lines amid concerns about President Biden's call for stricter gun laws. It says the 1986 Firearms Owner Protection Act allows for the interstate transportation of ammunition and firearms, provided they are unloaded and out of reach. But critics point out that lawful owners have been detained and even arrested for bringing guns across state lines in certain jurisdictions, notably New York. He says Montanans have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms. He says, I will always defend the Second Amendment and work to strengthen protections for law-abiding gun owners, including the right to safely transport firearms. We've already seen President Biden threaten the Second Amendment, and we must act now to protect these rights for all Americans. So he ain't playing. If you gun-toting, gun-slinging, y'all gonna be able to carry these guns everywhere you go. Says this legislation, the Daines bill will make it clear that transporting weapons and ammunition encompasses staying in temporary lodging overnight, stopping for food, fuel, vehicle maintenance, and emergency medical treatment, and in any other activity incidental. So he's just making sure, y'all, that we are able to bear arms and carry and tote and anywhere we go in these United States. I ain't mad at him because I do support the Second Amendment. So I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, y'all, keeping up with Congress. I told you we cannot get reparations without negotiations. These are some of the bills that are coming down the pipe. We have to keep our eyes on these people. What are they doing? Who are they? Because again, we will not get reparations without negotiation. So if you have not gone to the website, please do. I'm about to come over to these clubhouse streets and we're going to chop it up over there. I appreciate you. You know, I will be back tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m. right here, YouTube, 5 p.m. to 5:30. And if you can join me tomorrow on Clubhouse, I will be having as a special guest Jackie Johnson, who is the mother of Kendrick Johnson, the teenager that was found rolled up in a gym mat, whose body was exhumed and with no organs. So what the hell is going on in Georgia, y'all? So Keeping Up with Congress, 5 o'clock, and then tomorrow, 5:30, hear from Jackie Johnson, the mother of Kendrick Johnson. So Clubhouse family, I'm coming over there. YouTube family, I will see you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Go to that website. Please make a donation. Make a donation, y'all. No donation is too small. We got a whole race to win to the United States Senate. I will be your senator no matter where you are in these United States. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in for Keeping Up with Congress. I am Tamara Johnson-Shealy, your candidate for the United States Senate. I'm a progressive Democrat that believes that reparations will make America great. It is time that we bridge the divide in this country. Please go to the website. That's tamara4georgia.com. www.tamara, Tamara4, Georgia spelled out.com. Please join me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here for Keeping Up with Congress.